Welcome to Shitstorm Monday.
We gotta rush him. We gotta kick the. What we gotta do is get in and get the. All right, let's go. Come on now. Hey, we'll put the bass on.
Oh man, I would have liked to see some different type of results for yesterday's games. What in the world is Coach D'Amico Ryans doing? And I'm specifically talking about the Texans. I addressed this issue before. You have an opportunity to try to still win this football game because your defense is so good. And in all reality, and this is perfect Monday morning quarterbacking, but it should have been last Monday that it was done when C.J. Stroud looked as bad as he did in last week's game. Then you do not put him in yesterday. You really give Davis Mills a lot of first team reps and you sit him down. You know what I'm saying? Because this kid was totally overwhelmed, totally out of it. And the rest of the team offensively you could tell by the way they were running their routes, they were giving up. I mean, by the end of the game, the guy just put his arm up like this, like, oh, I know the ball's not going to get to me because he's either going to overthrow it or underthrow it or throw it too late. That was a real car crash. And when you can throw 4 interceptions and still be only 4 points down in the game, it shows you how good your defense is playing. It was a really sad spectacle to watch the Texans end their season this way. I would have really seriously wanted more design plays with the Chicago game, and I think that could have been the difference. And I especially love the early part of the game. The first drive, they did a massive rollout, went to the tight end with a 2-tier situation where you have a wide receiver, then you have the tight end, or the tight end and the wide receiver, and they'll throw to whoever's open on a rollout. They needed to do more of it. They needed to do it on both sides. They needed to do it with a hurry-up offense. And these were like the areas in which they didn't do well. The 3 points might have ended up being the difference at the first drive of the game when they went for it. They should not have went for it on 4th down and just kicked the 3 points and took those points there. If you're going to go for it on 4th and 1, you have to do design runs, power runs to the left or the right. Trying to look for a receiver in a tight and closed box with a highly motivated individuals in a playoff game, I don't think is the answer. Running the ball in those situations, I think, is the better answer. Toss, power sweeps, something to that nature. And if you're going to throw the ball, you have to roll Caleb out to the left or to the right and looking for the tight end because he's a big target. It's all obvious. If Loveland gets 7 catches in the game and you lose, but you had a close game, then that means Loveland needed 2 more catches. Or Kmet, since all of a sudden you used to throw the ball to Kmet like there's nobody's business before you really had Loveland. Now you got Loveland and you don't throw the ball to Kmet. And to me, this goes against logic. If you have 2 guys that are capable of catching the ball, then you want to spread it out between them in such a way it makes it difficult for them to decide who it is they're going to maybe pull some extra coverage to. And you're going to double cover Loveland going down the field, then you throw to Kmet. Then when they start trying to roll more coverage towards Kmet, then you go to Loveland. And then you mix in more and you mix in your backs. And I just think that they need to reevaluate that plan because that was a winnable game for the Bears as well. All right, so moving forward, you got Denver with New England. But now Denver's missing Bo Nix, so they're missing a certain amount of speed. But I think Stidham is... let's say he's a workable journeyman quarterback. And under Sean Payton's system with a heavy defense and ball control, I still kind of tend to lean towards Broncos in this game. I think they'll be playing at home, so that's also a benefit as well. So I lean towards the Broncos in that game. For the Seattle and the Rams, they're very familiar with one another, and I still, are rocking with some of my ex-New York Giants that are playing very well. Leonard Williams, Brother Love. I like what they're doing. And if Sam could just stay away from doing the stuff that he did when he was a Jet, and not hold the ball too long. Don't fumble it. Don't throw picks. I would see Seattle coming out of this on top, with Seattle and Denver facing each other in the Super Bowl. So that's my expectation. All right, so, this is a Giants channel, so we got to talk a little bit of the Giants. We're still hearing some little whispers about what's going on as far as Coach Harbaugh's contract. Coach Harbaugh's contract seems to be in agreement, but there are the details that are on the periphery. And the obvious detail is that you still got an asswipe like Joe Shane on the team. And whether I'm looking in Reddit, whether I'm looking on Giant sites or Facebook, the comments are all the same. Why is Joe Shane still there? I had one guy, all the comments said that the only thing that Joe Shane did wrong was get rid of Saquon. I think you need to be a little bit more specific than that. He got rid of Saquon in his own division, didn't get anything for it, and the guy runs for 2,000 yards in one of your most hated rivals, and they make it to the Super Bowl. And any person would tell you that even watches a little bit of football understands how personnels can make a difference. An individual, one person can bring certain thing to a team. And it was like, a guy having a neighbor with a really beautiful wife, and then all of a sudden the wife ends up with the neighbor, and they have more fun and more parties and more everything than they've ever had before, and you didn't get anything out of it. I mean, I know it may be a bad, but you know what I'm saying here. This is ridiculous that you would give this guy to somebody down I-95 corridor and not get anything for him. And that will be a statue in the Canton Football Hall of Fame. Worst deal in modern time. And there'll be a picture of that toothy ass grin of Joe Shane with his stupid plaid jacket on and a striped tie. Then we won't talk about Williams. We won't talk about Xavier McKinney. We won't talk about the $160 or $180 million, I don't think it was 160, that he gave to Daniel Jones, only to just get rid of Daniel Jones to the point you were so paranoid, you wouldn't even let Daniel Jones come into 1925 Giants Drive and lift weights because they were afraid he was going to get hurt. After you gave him all this money, you didn't even let him play. Right? And then you got rid of him. So if that is brilliant GM play to you, I don't know what, I know it isn't. And so does Coach Harbaugh. And like I said, if you search the internet, I believe Harbaugh was a guest on that NFL show on the ESPN with Coach Ryan and what's his face, the guy that used to be the Detroit quarterback. You know what I'm talking about, that show, that particular show. I'm pretty sure John Harbaugh was asked about this deal with Saquon going to the Eagles. And he, like many people, coaches, ex-coaches, players, people that are covering the games, the reporters, journalists, nobody said that that was a good fucking idea. So I'm hoping what this is this is the squeeze before they give him the pink slip, and I'm still hoping and praying. I told my brother the other day, I'm praying that what's going to happen is we're going to turn around and see that this guy is gone. Like a quiet decision. You got to go, man. That when push comes to shove, we can get somebody else better to do this job. And that one guy, I know you heard it from me 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,001. Louis Riddick. Get him. I feel very strongly that Louis Riddick will do a 10 times better job. But I'm sure that Coach Harbaugh knows a lot of guys too. But that's been my pick all along. And like I said, he did interview for the job before, If Brian Flores becomes the head coach of the Steelers, which is what they're talking about, I'll be super excited for that. I feel like Robert Saleh should be given another chance to do what he needs to, try to be a coach, and maybe that'll be in a system, in an organization he's familiar with as a former head Jet coach that he might end up in Miami. You know, be excited to see who is going to be the official guy for the Browns with Shador. You know, I don't think that trigger has actually been pulled yet. You know, they're saying Stefanski's going to go to Atlanta. I feel badly for the coach who just got fired from the Buffalo Bills. His name that come to mind at this split second. I'm sure I'm thinking about it as soon as I stop recording. But I'm sorry to see him go, and I don't think that's the smartest move. I think that guy has been really good for Buffalo and for the team, and I think you're going to end up having to take a few steps back, or maybe a lot of steps back, unless somebody really comes in there and gets everybody firing on all cylinders. You have a good core team. There's a few things that are missing, you know, but not by much. This was more exercise in how you utilize your chess pieces. I felt like Knox and Kincaid in those type of situations, you know, I'm always early, tight end heavy, get the ball out quickly, use your big targets, loosen that defense up, you know, hurry up offenses, you know, maybe some screen passes in there for when they're trying to bring the heat, you know, so it is what it is. You know, I feel badly for Buffalo fans, and there's only 11 teams, I think, that have never been to a Super Bowl and won, and I would love to see that for the Buffalo Bill fans. That's basically all I got. We got only 2 more games left to make it to the Super Bowl. And tonight's the national championship. I lean towards Indiana on that. I heard a guy say that the NIL made Indiana a powerhouse that it otherwise would never have been. Maybe, you know, this is the space that we're in today, you know, and if a team gets a chance to be on top, and this guy was saying that you got a bunch of 23, 24, and maybe even 25-year-olds that are all on that team that have been on different national programs, and they have a potpourri of the best because of NIL. It is what it is now. You know what I mean? I feel like the people that put the product on the field should have a certain level of compensation, a certain level of self-determination, and you know, everyone's trying to cash a check. So, you know, capitalism, you know, to the highest bidder go the spoils of war. It looks like these days, no matter what it is and what genre it's in. So, it is what it is. I'm sure you can sit here for the next 17 hours and discuss it back and forth to what the old system was, to what the NIL is doing now, and how that is going to affect going forward, the way even picks are coming out of college. It is what it is. I can't say it that many more times, you know, but I'm happy for these young people that get some level of compensation for all the work. So that's why I tend to lean towards more the NIL side of this than I do the old school, where everyone else made money except for the players that were putting the product on the field. Anyway, you know, we're getting closer. Let's hope that Schoen gets replaced. I feel like he's at least going to get truncated. Let's go, New York Football Giants.